Good morning. My name is Angel, and this is episode 16 of Saying Goodbye. It has been an eventful 5 or 6 weeks. I've been dealing with a lot of things in my life, trying to record, trying to do things, trying to make things happen, and it has been the series of unfortunate events. So many things have come into play, and that's just life. And we think that, well, I thought that if I work hard enough and I do what I gotta do and I stop drinking, stop smoking, stop partying, live my life the right way, do the right things for the right reasons, I get under the impression that everything is just gonna be a smooth street in life. Even if you just continuously just do the right thing, and that's not the way things happen. That's not the way things have happened in the last couple of weeks. I really started getting into my rhythm, really started feeling good with recording and just sharing where I'm at and talking about my life and just talking about my experiences, up to now, up to date. And these last couple of weeks have seen me get injured at work, be off for weeks on end, couldn't use my left arm. I'm still, my arm is still messed up. And I'm on light duty, and I had to sit home and just stay still. I couldn't do no work in my house. I couldn't do no side work. I couldn't do anything. I had to just sit still. On top of getting injured, I would have still been able to record. I had an issue with my phone. I went to the carrier. The carrier says, go to the phone company, that we purchase it from, and you got to get it fixed there. And I took my phone over there, and my phone, they told me to back it up. I backed the phone up, and they deleted everything off my phone. I lost all my contacts. I lost all my passwords. I don't know if anybody has ever experienced trying to recover a Google account, but it has been the worst experience. And on top of all that, life just shifts, things change, and they start taking a different direction for whatever reason. And I'm not here to complain. I'm not here to talk about the bad experiences. It's just an experience, and that's what it is. I don't believe that any experience is good or bad. It could make you feel good, it could make you feel bad, but ultimately it's up to you to decide how you're going to interpret it and which way you're going to allow it to work for you. You could allow it to work in a positive way, you could allow it to work in a negative way. But either way, I'm just looking at things, I'm just allowing myself to absorb them. And once I absorb them and I just go through the motions of what it is that I'm feeling, I'm learning not to respond like right then and there. I was so upset. I wanted to curse people out and act out and act ignorant and do all these things, but I had to take a look of why I have been sidelined. Why in this moment, everything that I wanted to do had to stop. Everything that I had in my mind that I thought that, oh, I could have this done by this time, and I'm just constantly running. My life is just fast paced, go, 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 go. And in all that turmoil, I'm forgetting how to live, how to enjoy life, how to slow down and really enjoy all the blessings that I have worked for. You know, I don't care how many meetings I make, how many times I see my therapist. I don't care how many conversations I have with friends or team building and career building and doing this and doing that. And everything could be going right and things could still not go your way. So then what did I do? Like right now in this moment with all these things going wrong, I'm talking about I'm injured. I can't do nothing because I don't know what's going on. I'm back and forth to the doctor, specialist. They checking all these things. I'm thinking my shoulder's damaged. I'm thinking all this stuff. I can't use my arm. Not even in the slightest. It hurt. I messed it up real bad. I'm really active. I love to work out. Nothing. I can't work out. I can't work. Can't do none of the work in the house. I can't do anything. So what do? You know, on top of that, it's like my world keeps getting turned upside down, right? Um People say things about me, people write things about me, things, you know, and it just I would be a liar if I didn't say that I want to react, that I want to go and I want to fight people back, that I want to, you know, like be as messy as they are. Like, you know, just go and just be as ignorant. And it is the most difficult thing at the moment. Not in hindsight. When I look at it and I say, how is this gonna like affect my life? Is it gonna do something positive for me? Is it gonna do something negative for me? Like, how is this gonna work if I behave in this way? And I could process it and I could think about those things and I could say, all right, I'm not gonna do that because that's not the best thing for me to do. You know, I have all these things taking place, my injury, um, you know, just living alone and being alone and coming to terms with that and having peace, you know, like enjoying all the things that I've done up to this point have been so priceless in my life. And I started to think like, why are all these things happening? Why is it that I'm being attacked from all angles? Why am I being disabled? Why? And the what I've come to is that sometimes God got to get surgical on you and he got to cut that infection out of your life. And he got to allow things to happen, good, bad, or indifferent in your life to remove all of that trash out of your life, the infection, all the stuff, even if it isn't an infection and even if it isn't trash, maybe it just isn't for you. And you gotta allow, you know, like for me, I gotta allow God to do the work. I gotta allow the universe to take control and just push me to where I need to go. You know, and all this time out, being attacked from all angles, you know, just, you know, people having this idea of you and talking about you or just putting things out there that are not for the public. It's just it has been an insane ride. And you know, I've just been praying a lot because I thought I was gonna lose my mind just staying still. And what I've done, I turned to God. I turned inward. You know, I'm learning not to go around asking people for advice. The minute I ask people for advice or their input, now I open the door for people to make decisions in my life. For people to tell me, oh, Angel, I think you should do this. Yeah, everybody has an opinion. Everybody does. And when you look at what's being done in a lot of people's lives, you know, a lot of times it's not much. And I'm not being judgmental. I'm just looking at the facts, right? I like it to be factual. Like what's happening in your life that's going so good, or what makes people so comfortable to tell other people what to do in their lives and which way to go when things when they aren't functioning like that. And I understand the messenger sometimes, you get a message that you can't judge the person that's delivering it. But what I'm talking about is like it's just different. Everybody wants to be involved in somebody else's life, you know? And I just learned to stop giving people access. I learned to minimize my access and to maximize my focus within myself, caring for myself, loving myself, doing things that I like to do, and understanding that when I'm enjoying these particular things, I don't have to have somebody next to me. I don't gotta have somebody there. And I just feel, like that's been a big thing for me. During this big, breakup and separation from my significant other, I had to really like dive deep into myself, you know? And the more that I try to do that and the more that I try to centralize my foundation with God's love and allowing that to flow through me, the more I'm being attacked. And it's just a derailment, right? It's not a physical attack. It's a more like an emotional, spiritual, mental thing that's going on in the cosmics, wherever it be, inside. I read something yesterday and it said the call is being made from inside the house. The call is being made. You think that all this stuff is happening outside, and it's not. All this stuff is happening within. And then, I realized that I needed to sit still. I needed to slow down. I needed the hurricane to just stop turning, the tornado to stop spinning. And in this season of my life, I needed to sit on the bench. It don't matter if I'm a good player. It don't matter if I make good shots. None of that matters this time in my life for the last couple of months. I had to just sit still. And I had to learn to be okay with that. And, I've been consistent always with my relationship with my kids. I got 3 different ages, 3 different flavors, and I'm a different father with all 3. And in this season of slowdown, in this season of derailment, in this season of sit down and you're not going to do what you want to do, in this season of that, like this is not, you're not going to do what you want, you're going to do nothing. In this season of nothing, I have learned so much more than what I read, much more than what I've seen, what I experienced in just sitting still. And sometimes in our lives, there's gonna be a season for that. And actually, I recommend that you try it every year to sit still and do nothing. There's things that have happened. My uncle's wife that passed away not so long ago. I didn't even get to process that. I never really even got to like think about her because I was just so hurt about not being, just not being invited, not being a part of, not being shown any type of love or anything like that. And hey, if you're not given that love and you're not shown that love, you're not chosen for that love, then that love ain't for you. And I think that for me, I have to stop imagining why I wasn't given this love. why I wasn't chosen. Because it's just not for me. It's not. And that's just what it is. Everybody has their own truth. And I really don't care about anybody else's. I care about the people that I love and I hold dear. I care about those people and what they think. And I'm willing to let certain people in and hear their opinion and see how they feel about certain things. But anything more than that, it's not my business. I don't have to worry about why people didn't do things. I don't have to imagine why. I don't have to make up these stories, but you know what? The call is being made from within. That negativity, that spawn of negativity is just built inside of me. It's coming from inside. It's an inside job. And I get to choose what's going on in that inside job. I'm I'm the foreman. Or I'm the general contractor. I'm the one running everything. I'm the one deciding what goes in, what comes out, what happens, how it happens, and how it's played out. And a lot of times in the season of your life, when too much is going on, you just got to sit still. And that's what I was forced to do. And now that I see it, I can honestly say that I appreciate it, what has happened. And that's the difference in my life right now. I could get attacked. I could be spoken about. People could say things that aren't true. And I don't care to argue about it. I don't care to try and correct how people view me, how people talk about me, how people receive me. You know, that is not my job. My job for me, I feel like is just to be me. That's my job. To be dedicated to myself and to love myself enough to feel free to be whoever it is that I want to be. Whatever feels good to me. Not to treat people foul, not to be bad to people, be rude or disrespectful, none of that. But I have to be authentically myself. I have to be Angel. And I gotta say, like in all these seasons of my life, all these things that I've been through, I love myself now more than ever. I accept myself, even if nobody else does, because I serve a higher power, a higher purpose. There's a love in this world that nobody could give you unless you give to yourself. And I I'm learning. I'm learning to love myself so deep that there's no void there. That it isn't because I need a wife. It isn't because I need a girlfriend. It isn't because I need my friends. It isn't because I need my family. Or I need a dog, or I need a cat, or I need this, or I need that. And even though all those things are wonderful things, for me it's been important to find out who I am when nobody's around. When nothing's going on. When you put the phone down and you just don't touch it. And you stop getting lost in the world. When you stop getting lost in the news and the negative things that people bashing each other back and forth, it's just chaotic. And I don't watch TV. I watch little shows that I enjoy, and that's about it. Like most people, I spend more time at work than I do at home. And if I'm not at home, I'm doing a meeting, or I'm doing my therapy session, or I'm working out, or And all of this has been halted, right? I haven't been able to like really like make meetings because I was uncomfortable. They had me on medication, and I don't like medication, but I had to do what I had to do in order to get better, in order for things to happen. And I want to talk about being left out, right? Or being outed. And like for me, I feel like this thing, like when I'm being pushed out, it just feels so uncomfortable, right? When I'm rejected, when I'm pushed out, when I'm not invited, when nobody calls or anything like that. I do have a few people, they do call me. I love them. It's no big deal. And I rather 4 quarters than 100 pennies, right? I don't know if I said that in an episode before, but I prefer that. I rather four solid quarters. And I have that in my life. I have pillars in my life, strong foundational people that I love, that I call friend, that I call brother. And it's all love. Everything is all love. But I want to talk about not being welcomed and not being invited. I want to talk about like what that feels like for me. And in a lot of ways, it like automatically the feeling is like, oh, forget. I don't care. I don't need to be a part of them. I don't need to be a part of that. Or I don't care what people say, or I don't care what people feel. But we do. I know I do. Right? I feel that, and then I gotta sit with it. I gotta sit with all that stuff. I gotta sit with the fact that what did I do wrong to these people? Why are they acting that way? Why am I being treated in this way? And then it goes back to, you want to clear your name, you want to like prove people wrong, you just want people to accept you, and all of that stems from just being abandoned. Like just not being enough for my mother to love, right? Not being enough for my father to come to the hospital when I was born. Not being enough for a woman to love. you know not being enough for people to invite me places. It's all tangled together, but it really isn't, because 9 out of 10 times I automatically start to think, oh, that has to do with me and they don't like me and this is what it is. And yeah, like in the surface, sure. But like a lot of times people got shit going on in their lives and they really not even thinking about you. Somebody else lose a parent, they're lost, they trying to figure it out, and you worrying about why you not invited, or why you haven't gotten a special invitation, and why this didn't happen and that didn't happen. A lot of times you got to thank God that you weren't there. You got to thank God that you wasn't a part of that. And you being there you could have been even worse off. It could have been something that destroyed your heart all over again. And you're wondering why these things don't happen. Because they weren't supposed to. Maybe that person didn't invite you. Maybe they didn't ask you to be a part of it because they didn't even think of it and it slipped their mind. Maybe they were just going through so much in their lives, and then this other extra stuff is added, and they just weren't in their right state of mind. Maybe they just didn't care. They didn't have to. And nobody does. You know? But I just want to give people grace. Like, I understand why you're doing what you're doing, and you have to do that in your life right now in this point. Because there's certain things that you feel, and there's a trajectory in which you're headed that has nothing to do with me. Nothing at all. But I'm taking it personal, and I'm feeling like it's an attack on me. And the truth is none of that. It's none of that. It has to do with them, with the individual. It has to do with what people are going through in life. We're all going through something. But I know for me, I always want to take everything personal. Like, how can I take it personal when I got injured and I had to sit still? How could I take it personal when I can't do any side work? I can't do anything, and I'm forced to just chill out and sit and just soak in what my reality is. You know, there's always like somebody to blame, or there's always somebody's fault. And honestly, like, I don't want to live my life like that no more. You know, like, I want to thank God for slowing me down. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to see like all these beautiful things that I've acquired. And I'm not talking about like a vehicle or a house. Yeah, a house is nice, but it's a lot of responsibility. A vehicle is nice, but it's a lot of responsibility that comes with that. I gotta maintain all of it. And I don't like the maintenance. What I'm talking about that I acquired that is the most beautiful thing is the gift of accountability, the gift of being present, the gift of appreciation. And you know, like, God gave me grace. I was in the streets. I was drinking. I hurt a lot of people that I shouldn't have. You know, I hurt myself. I just kept fanning the flames of hell in my life. And the call was always coming from inside. So any destruction, anything that's happening in my life, is because it's coming from within. It's coming from within. That's my story. That's what's going on. Even with going on 14 years clean, going on 14 years without putting any drugs or anything that will alter how I behave or how I act, I still manage to do stupid things, to make careless decisions, to make poor decisions, to make bad, terrible decisions that cause chaos in my life. And then there's times like this situation where I didn't do anything, but it all came falling down. And it's okay. Because when everything falls apart and everything just comes to a screeching halt in your life, it's a beautiful time for me. It was wonderful. You know, like, I become more emotionally intact. I'm watching shows, I'm crying. I'm feeling all these things. I'm thinking about my life and like where I've come from. And saying, man, I got like a beige couch. And I keep it clean. And I have a 6-year-old son that's with me every weekend. That, you know, he be eating whatever. And he eats it right here. One of the cleanest kids ever. I just, it gotta be in his genes. Because I'm always trying to be OCD, and I go to friends' houses, I start cleaning up here and there, and they're like, oh shit, this guy's at it again. And I'll be over here trying to throw out garbage and I'll go to a person's house the first time I start doing the dishes if they got dishes in the sink. I'm on some other shit. Like that's how that's how I be. That's how much I can't stay still. I always got to be doing something. And I don't know if it was growing up in Brooklyn and New York. I don't know what it was, but I just never could stay still. But in this time, here, these last 2 months, everything just seemed to be stopping me from doing anything that I needed to do. But I still woke up every day. I took my shower. I ate. I took whatever medication I needed to take to get better. I rested, put ice packs on my arm, heating pad on my neck. Everything that I had to do for me, for Angel, I did that. I did that. I feel stronger today. Even trying to record videos, I couldn't even get into my YouTube account. Google made it almost impossible. I had to give ID, give the backup for the backup of the backup and all this stuff. I had to call friends. I had to phone a friend and try to find a way to recover my password. They close the account. Don't do anything for 3 days or whatever. It just kept rejecting everything because it had an old phone number that I had from 7 years ago, 9 years ago on my Google account. I'm texting the person. I'm like, please, if you could just send me the code. I wanted to record. I wanted to avoid dealing with whatever was festering inside of me, whatever was going on in there. I wanted to avoid it. And I couldn't. Not this time. This time it's extremely personal. It don't get no more personal than this. The journey of oneself. The journey of loving yourself and letting everything else go. And I come home. I mean, it is so quiet. I come home and this is my life. And what a gift it is to have this peace, to have this quiet, to not be disturbed. When I get my son and I'm with him, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then I'm with him Tuesday and Thursday, and I'm going to work and stuff. But in the weekend, when I get to come home and I just get to relax, if we don't got something on the agenda, because we always doing something, with a 6-year-old, you got to keep him entertained. You always got to find new things, see what he likes, what he don't like. It's a beautiful thing, the adventure of life. And I can honestly say that I thank God for putting me on the bench, for slowing me down, for saying, hey, you need to sit this out. Everything was taken away from me. Passwords deleted. Yeah, I had to recover everything, but it wasn't as fast as I thought it was going to be. And I had to go to each and every entity, my bank, my Yahoo account, everything. I had to show identification, do all types of stuff. I mean, in order to get into your own accounts, in order to retrieve, it took me 4 weeks of trying to do that while I'm injured, while going to doctor's appointments, while being bashed online and all these things being said. Oh my Lord. God is funny sometimes too. And I'm just learning to give people the grace that God gave me, the forgiveness that God has given me, the love that God has given me. like a lot of times I think, oh, people ain't, oh, forget them, they ain't worthy of that. And it's like, but I wasn't worthy of it. And God gave me all of it. And it's like, what am I doing with his love? What am I doing with that grace? What am I doing with that mercy? I gotta allow it to flow through me, because there's a saying, right? You can't keep it unless you give it away. And the more you do for people, the bigger your heart gets. There's a lot of times that I think, and I will never regret when it's time to leave here. I won't, like there's no white flag above my door. For certain things, yes. For life and acceptance, I'm learning that, I'm going to live this and I'm going to do this until the wheels fall off. Excuse me. And there's so many wonderful relationships that I have. And there's so many. I was talking to my brother last night. And, we were having a deep conversation. Like, why are we here? And even in the turmoil called life and the addiction part of our lives, and when we were doing all these bad things, we still managed to stop somebody from getting killed, somebody from getting life-altering injuries, even though sometimes we were the ones, like, doing the hurting. And thank God that we're here. Thank God that I get to call that brother. Thank God that I get to realize the error of my ways. Thank God that I get to see all these things and that I get to share it with people. That even if a couple of people see it, even if I've reached one, it's amazing if just one person understands that when God does something for you, he does it for you, not to you. When I'm not invited to places and when I'm left out, it's not happening to me, it's happening for me. There's a reason that I wasn't there, that I wasn't supposed to be there. And if people forgot to invite you, it's not because they're attacking you, it's because they're human. And people forget too. And people, we all going through something. And I gotta pause and I gotta remember to give people grace. To give people understanding, to accept them wherever they are, and to love them. Even if the idea of what I have in my mind of how I wanted things to play out don't happen that way. It's okay. It's okay that it doesn't happen that way. Because it just wasn't supposed to be that way. It wasn't, but I gotta continue to remember that there are a lot of strings attached to my past. And if I'm not careful and I'm not vigilant, those things that I have overcome in my life, they never really leave. And if you're not paying attention, they'll creep right back up in your life. And let me tell you something. The wickedness of the world, it gets creative as you start to reach different areas of your life. The devil definitely is creative and so smooth. And I seen the way it started trying to manifest in my life. And that's why I keep going back to the phone calls coming from within the house. That's what's happening. And if I don't allow it to manifest within myself, and I realize what's going on inside of me, and I dive deeper into me, and I look for the strands of where that virus is coming from, then I could better deal with it, cope with it, and then get it out of me. I could find the right medicine for it and just evict it. And I have been on fire wanting to share. I have been wanting to say things, and in these last couple of weeks I had to say nothing. And that's the message that God was giving me. So if you're in that season of keeping your mouth closed, not worrying why they didn't invite you or not, like, why ain't I there? Why are they doing this to me? It's not happening to you. It's happening for you. Take a deeper look. Take a look inside yourself. In this world of information and all these things, like, how about you put the phone down? How about you understand that we're getting older and that time moves so fast? And we truly got to appreciate, like, today, because we don't know if there will be a tomorrow. And it's scary, but it's sobering. The last time I'll get to talk to my kids, or the last time I get to talk to a good friend, or the last time I speak to that family member. And then you realize that all these things are just things and they don't matter. They really don't. What matters is how you decide to receive things, how you decide to interpret it, internalize it, and how you decide to release whatever's not for you. And I know it's hard, and I know it's all of that. It is. And like, being emotionally mature is, I don't like it. I wish this was a stage in my life where I could go and roll up a blunt and smoke and forget about my problems and say, oh, F it, I'm not dealing with that. Or drink me a couple of drinks and just put the BS out of my mind. But today I don't do that. Today I work through things. And, I'm not lying to myself anymore. I'm not numbing myself out. I'm facing everything and recovering. I'm not forgetting everything and running. That's the FEAR acronym that we use. I just want to thank God to be able to come here and express myself and have a little platform to say some things. And I hope that you heard something that you could relate to. I hope that you love deeper. I hope that you take time for yourself, to love yourself, because nobody's going to love you the way you love you. I hope that you fight for you. And you fight for that relationship with yourself. And everything on that list that you want from somebody else, you become that. That's who I'm becoming. I'm becoming everything. I'm actually writing out my list. And I got to revise it all the time. And I got to go back to it. Because I want to be all of that to myself. I want to overflow with love and not feel empty. And today, after realizing all these things, I feel a little less empty. I feel more fulfilled. This is episode 16. saying goodbye to my past life, saying goodbye to the old habits, saying goodbye to my stinking thinking, saying goodbye to the things that no longer serve me. And sometimes that's people, sometimes that's loved ones, sometimes through death, and sometimes through just not being able to be around them. Whatever the case is, whatever it is that's going on in your life, give yourself some grace, give yourself some mercy. Don't forget to pay it forward. And anything you do, do it in love. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next episode.